What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 with our Iron Man Japanese playthrough. Now, much like I stated in the last episode, we now control the Dominion of Canada, we now control all of the US, and what's really fantastic is because World War II is not technically over, even though we have less war participation. Looks like the German Reich has I lied. We have more war participation. We have 37% of all of the territorial claims from World War II, which I doubt is going to be all of the US, all of Canada, all of India, all of Iran, especially all of these islands. And now, the reason why this works in our favor is we have 1,278 factories, 642 of those are obviously military factories, and we are doing everything in our power to produce as many tanks and mechanized equipment as we can. But unfortunately, we do have 0 manpower. I am going to need 150 political power to essentially change my occupational laws. Or excuse me, to change my conscription laws. And it looks like I am going to go ahead and I'm going to need some additional chromium. Now, don't get me wrong, we are producing a lot of modern tanks, but we lack 63 chromium. And if we want all of these factories to produce as much chromium as we can get our hands on, we are going to have to land eventually inside South Africa. And it looks like there's 200 chromium. Wow! I had no idea. Wow. I didn't know that the UK had chromium here as well. If we could control all of this area, we are going to own anything and everything. Now, it looks like that's not going to happen until about 120 days from now. So probably a little less than half of a year. I have 40 divisions that are going to land on the Maldives, and they are eventually going to set sail to, eventually do a naval invasion of South Africa. And for the time being, I actually don't really have any ships protecting here in the south. Speaking of ships, basically I don't have manpower, which is kind of bad as well. But I probably could utilize some of the steel. It's not really that hard to make. Let's go ahead. It's for only 4,000 construction. Let's get a few light they require chromium. Sad life. Does anything not require chromium? We get some heavy cruisers, which I don't really need. But let's go ahead and get 3 of those. So I get that these are level 2 and they're not very powerful. And I'm only going to produce 2, 2, and 2. That way I will have 6 in total. All of you, I suppose, are going to go to Hiroshima. And they're going to be done in probably about the same time that our Marines are going to be prepped and ready to go. And you know what? Let's produce a few more. Let's get more heavy cruisers. We have the steel. We have the oil. Might as well put it to good use. The only thing we don't have is manpower. So I really have no idea if we can deploy these units. Still have a lot of ships to utilize. And I guess let's go ahead and use 1 more heavy cruiser. All we want are 2, 2, 2, and 2. All of them will be constructed inside Chigoku, or better yet, Hiroshima. And we finally are lacking steel, but as time goes on, we will eventually construct some heavy cruisers and eventually put them to good use. We now have 10,000 manpower. I'm willing to bet that in the next day, all of this is going to go away. Now, I'm not sure if it's because of our unread naval battles, or if, people are dying, or if we just don't have enough manpower. But, people are being, this manpower limit is dwindling. Okay, I think I do absolutely want better signal companies. And eventually, I'm probably going to start working my way towards nuclear bombs. So right now, all we're doing is we are essentially waiting for all of our mechanized to be constructed. It should only take about 471 days. But obviously, once we get to peak efficiency, that number is going to drastically go down. I am still constructing motorized artillery, which I don't necessarily need. Now, I wonder, it would require more steel. Should I have a lot of oil, I have a lot of rubber. all of these could eventually create mechanized, but now my issue is I don't have enough steel. But obviously once these heavy cruisers are, I guess, finished up and ready to go, I'll probably switch over those to mechanized as well. Now we don't have mechanized 3, which I believe we actually aren't working on, which is horrible. 1944, 236 days. It gives better soft attack. Oh my goodness, much better soft attack and much better hard attack. And it's just far superior in general. It has a production cost of 14 compared to 13, but the breakthrough is better, the speed is better, the defense is better. I absolutely need those. Why do I not have that researched? That is very poor planning, but I suppose it is what it is. Excuse me while I take a sip of my Coke. Stand by. I'm actually quite parched. So anyway, we own pretty much anything and everything. Or, excuse me, we occupy anything and everything, and I'm expecting to go to war with the German Reich. Now, it looks like Greece is fighting Turkey. There is no way that Greece and the U.S. are going to win because the U.S. doesn't exist, but they do have a few other troops. The U.K. is still fighting fairly strong, or better yet, fighting fairly well. It looks like we have some naval battles. The U.S. is losing convoys, which is good. We are basically destroying whatever we can because we obviously have access to most of the sea here. Does Bermuda have a level 10 naval base? No, only level 7. But still, that's not really bad. We've been sinking a lot of ships. Obviously, our carrier is doing work. It is sinking heavy cruisers. Letting the days go by. Now, I wouldn't mind having these territories, but it looks like they are fairly well defended. All 40 of our units are going to be prepped and ready to go. Oh my goodness, do they absolutely need better naval bases inside the Maldives. Now, obviously, the better naval bases we have, the more supply we are going to be able to obtain. Are we exercising? No, we are not. We literally just lack supply. Can we build better infrastructure? Yes, we can, but I don't think that's the issue. I guess our real issue is only just the naval base capacity. When are we going to be ready to go? It says we're still preparing. Yikes, and we don't have enough convoys. That is literally horrible. Is there anything I can do to produce... Oh my goodness, I need steel again. I hate to do this, but we gotta dismantle this heavy cruiser. And I finally have steel. I'm gonna make about 5 a week. How many are we missing? We're gonna need quite a few of them. But luckily we do have time. I could always stop trading. I wonder, are we trading any? Yes, we are. We are trading things that we don't really need. Let's take a look at our aluminum. I am gonna keep that. Well, I have an excess aluminum. Yeah, I don't think we need it, so let's go ahead and cancel the aluminum order. That'll save us some convoys. We don't need to export from... What is happening? Okay, we definitely don't need oil from Venezuela. And it looks like we are exporting steel, which I absolutely want. And I could even get more steel, but that's going to require convoys. But I think we are going to have to do it. And we need all the chromium we can get our hands on. It looks like we could get even more. But unfortunately, they are being sunk. Let's actually get more for the time being. I get that we don't have the convoys. But that actually was even worse than what I was expecting. But now that I have more chromium, I can basically produce the tanks I need. Or at least try to. Okay, where do we stand now? We are obviously building up our infrastructure, building up our naval bases. We now have... My voice is cracked. We now have, looking at our supply, we have a level 4 naval base. Now that's not bad, but it obviously needs to be far superior to basically provide supplies to all of our Marines. All of them are very heavy tanks. And we obviously need to, utilize all of their organization. 4 more days until we can finally begin researching the atomic bomb. We are already in early March of 1947. Here is the nuclear reactor, and eventually, once we create some nuclear reactors, even though we occupy some, we are going to be able to have the ability to create nuclear bombs. Let us go ahead and build. We've already got better decryption. Can I get better fighter agility and heavy fighter agility? Yes, I can, and I think I will. Okay, let us go ahead and finally construct a nuclear reactor. Let us go ahead and probably build around 4. Wow. Do I want them there? Not really. But let's put one here and there. And I guess inside China, because we already own that. All 3 of you can go to the top of the page. And the reason why is basically the more nuclear reactors we have, the faster we will accumulate nuclear bombs. Nuclear bombs are free, but you really only get one, and I think it's probably like once every 6 months or so, depending on how many nuclear reactors you have. It's basically how quickly you can create more. The fall of London, first time since William the Conqueror. There is no way that the United Kingdom is going to survive this naval invasion. World War II is about to be over. Now, the only benefit from that is I'm finally not going to need to deal with all of this occupational loss. All of these troops can eventually be removed. And I guess here we stand. I'm a little nervous to see exactly what I'm going to be able to keep and maintain. All of these factories are probably going to be removed, which is a little sad as well. Can we begin our invasion of South Africa first? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to arrive on time. Yeah, we basically have the intel. We just lack the convoys. So let us do something along these lines. Looking at trade, I am going to remove all of our trading from Switzerland. And I guess try to save as many convoys as we can get our hands on, at least for now. Okay, do I have any free ships anywhere? Probably not. Here's 2. Both of them are light cruisers. And all we're going to do is basically patrol in these areas. I have no idea if we're going to be able to stay alive, but we are certainly going to try. Giving you a level 1 admiral. And basically, when these units are ready to go, they are going to be sent on down. They are in the Maldives, of course. Now, they do have better organization due to our better supply, but I am obviously still concerned. We are building a better naval base, but it will not be constructed by the time these units are activated, prepped, and ready to go. Man, I would absolutely like all of South Africa and all of the UK. It would make me very, very happy. All of that extra juicy chromium. How many modern tanks do we need? About 1,008 days. This is not looking good. And obviously our mechanized should be done in about 255 days. We're going to have a massive surplus of mechanized, but we are going to need quite a few modern tanks. How is our naval invasion coming along? Finally moving its way on over. Let us unlock better encryption, so that means the enemy doesn't have that great of an opportunity to basically remove my tactics. How is the UK looking? Germany is obviously pushing towards Liverpool, and I'm wondering if if Germany is going to defeat the UK, preferably, after I invade South Africa and take all of this chromium inside, the UK. Obviously, naval invasions from very far away aren't very good. It looks like we have sunk. We have some carriers down here, which doesn't make sense. That's odd. I wonder if we sent the right group. We should. I'm not even sure anymore. Okay, here is our landing invasion. We are going to need to grab a naval base as quickly as possible. Let us create an offensive line all the way through South Africa. Something along these lines. Somehow, somewhere. Okay, activate. Now, all we need is this port. Is it a level 1? It's a level 2 naval base, so it could be a lot better. And I do want to put these guys on aggressive. And I guess what I'll do is I am going to upgrade this naval base for the sake of supply. And I'm wondering if the infrastructure is really even that good either. I can't tell just yet, but we obviously are going to try our best. People are going to be arriving in 7 days. Ah, they are so slow. But that's because most of these units are actual infantry troops and not mechanized in general. The United Kingdom has capitulated. So here we stand. I guess I really didn't need to do any invasions. We have the most amount of score. My #1 priority is going to be to secure South Africa, secure all of these resources. I don't really need the rubber, and I don't really need anything else. We can secure all of Singapore, of course, because we need all of those resources. And it looks like I can secure a lot. Once this number turns gray, I won't be able to take anything else. There's a lot of steel in Australia. And for the sake of, making this look nice, we're going to take everything we can. All of these islands, we've put naval bases on, and obviously some planes. I would like those. Okay, I would like to take the Philippines, but they don't really seem that useful. Any type of resources. There is some steel that we could put to good use. My #1 priority is going to be chromium, and I'm not sure where to get my hands on that. Let's go ahead, secure all of this tungsten. Let's go ahead, secure all of... Yikes, we don't have enough anymore. 1,352. I'm wondering how far back I need to go. Well, I'm going to be very upset if I lose some of this territory. Let's go ahead and remove some of these. End our turn. And now we have even more resources, but obviously less. We obviously want to take Siam, some of India. A lot of rubber here, but I do want the steel first. There's steel here. All of Bhutan. Still watching this number. Still not gray. We are going to need to take the Maldives. And it's funny because Free France still exists. All of these naval bases would be very, very nice to own. I guess we can make our way into India. There's some chromium here that I would like to take advantage of. But not much. Does Iran still exist? Yes, they do. I might take all of you. Assuming that I can. I could pretty much take most of India. And I could take all of India. No, I can't. Missing about 2 provinces. Or 3. Ending our turn. Let us grab the rest. And there is Kuwait. Do I want the Suez Canal? Probably. But all I really want to get my hands on is chromium. I could take some of Greece, but I don't think that would be the best option. Looking at the US, there is a lot taking all of California and the coast, especially Alaska, because I invested so much within it. Let's take these islands. Looking for... Oh, can't take this island. Ending our turn. And I guess we are going to go for Hawaii. Because why not? Securing the Pacific is going to be very vital. Okay, so we need chromium. Let's take all of our infrastructure that we built up in Canada. And I suppose we are going to want Milwaukee and Wisconsin because there's a lot of steel there. Yikes, can't take it just yet. Yikes, can't really do anything. Ending our turn. So now that we own most of the coastline, I wouldn't mind taking the Indies and the Philippines, assuming that we even can. Still can't. I don't like that. Okay, making our way back to the US. I wonder, can we take the canal? The German Reich has taken the canal. And they've taken a lot of loading zones and islands. Belgium, wow, they've taken a lot of territory. But obviously, we own most of this coast. Taking these islands because we can. Let's take, I believe this is Fiji. The German Reich did take some islands, which I don't like. They definitely took a few. Okay, moving on in, there is a lot of steel. Ooh, a lot of steel in Nevada, a lot of chromium. Can't take Idaho. Ending our turn. I think I'm going to pass once. And then try my best to secure Texas. And it looks like we are obviously making strides, but very small ones. Now, if I could secure this steel, I would be very happy. Okay, well, we can keep going. Oh, not anymore. Here is even more steel. Still looking for chromium, but I don't see any. We have a lot of oil once again. Okay, let's end our turn. Can we take Bermuda still? Nope, we have lost Bermuda. We have lost our naval base. The German Reich seems to continue to grow. Keep growing. Southern Ontario has been released back to Canada, and I think what I'm gonna do is there's nothing really of that much importance that's near me. Let's pass one more time, and I guess one more time as well. I have a big score. And I'm wondering, can we secure all of the East Coast? I don't know. We're going to take Ohio, moving on up. We don't have that much score left, 314. We don't have the ability to take New York, but we are going to try our best to take it next turn. And can't take Maine. Wow. Can only take New Jersey. Looks like these are the territories that nobody wants, but I will gladly accept them. Are there any other provinces left that we haven't really taken? I'm guessing there's going to be some islands around here somewhere that haven't been tapped into yet. Yeah, they've German Reich have taken quite a few. It's a little upsetting nonetheless. Okay, and then take all states in Canada. What did we miss? Yes, Nova Scotia. And that's all that's left, ending our turn. I'm a little upset that Canada still exists, or better yet, Ontario, especially where I created those radar dishes. And we went from 1,200 factories down to a little less. And part of me wants to go ahead and do an invasion of the German Reich, but I'm really not sure. We obviously finally have some manpower once again. Do we actually have chromium? Yes, we do. But it looks like we've lost a ton of military factories. Do we have an excess of infantry equipment? Yes, we do. So I'm wondering, can I delete a few of these? We'll save some steel. They are eventually going to be put to good use. I had so many extra military factories, and they've all gone away. Sad life. Can I move all of these to the top? Yes, I can. Nothing really matters anymore. Maybe these nuclear reactors do. But like I said, I now control pretty much anything and everything. But I am a little nervous. If I declare on the German Reich, I am going to be declaring on all of the Axis, which actually could be very detrimental. Now, just me alone, I have 528 military factories. Yeah. The German Reich does have more, even though that I've been building nothing but modern tanks. I am very saddened to say I think we are going to be ending this series here. As much as I would really, really like to continue on, I think what we're going to do is basically at the end of this year, I think the campaign is going to end. So we are going to stay on, speed 5. I'm very happy with how everything turned out. We are finally going to begin getting some actual political power now that we don't necessarily need to worry about our occupational laws. But sadly enough, the German Reich is very powerful, even though we have all of the US, all of Canada, but the issue is the German Reich owns the USSR and Great Britain. So even if we started a war, I sadly don't believe we would be able to defeat them. Obviously, our navy is far superior, but I just don't think we can basically move throughout. The idea would basically be to just have a ton of modern tanks, have a ton of mechanized, push westward, all the way through Siberia, through the Caucasus, maybe even through like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. But, you know, I'm a little, I don't know, we would probably make it this far, and then everybody would die. Not only do we have little manpower, I just don't think we are well suited for a world domination. I am glad we took all of South Africa, and now obviously we are building up our military might as well. Wow, we have so many factories. But, yeah, we finally have a lot of chromium, finally have a lot of steel. All of those heavy cruisers should be constructed very soon. Blitzkrieg has been unlocked. Wow, justification. The British Empire is justifying against us. I thought it was going to be somebody else. But we could easily remove Unitary Canada. I don't know where the British Empire is located now that they've been destroyed. Anything else that seems important? We have everything in industry. Working on our air doctrines. It's not 1950, so we can't really get anything better there. We have the best light cruiser. We have the best carrier. I could get better landing craft. I'm surprised that we still don't have that. 4 days until fighter veteran initiative. But because the actual World War II section is over, I believe this campaign will end in 1948. I'm not too sure, but I guess we'll find out. Naval strike torpedo tactics. Naval mission efficiency is going to be moving up. Surprisingly enough, I did not select this island, Andaman. And I actually thought I put a radar. Yes, I did. I put a very powerful radar dish. And now we don't have access to that. That is sad. Very sad. Why don't I have access to this? Now I don't have vision anywhere. I could upgrade this one. And we obviously have radar pretty much anywhere and everywhere except South Africa, so let's change that. And let's put one inside Miami, or better yet, Florida, and let's put one all the way up here, only because I would like radar. Do I have any islands in this general area? No. Nothing really matters at all from this point on. We are obviously making our way to constructing all of our mechanized, getting our, fighter production up and running. We have a lot of resources, but we seem to actually finally lack military factories. Going back to our default map mode, I think we've only got about 4 more months until this campaign is over. Now, I wish I could go a little bit faster, but I don't think we can. We have very low supplies in some of these areas. Let's go ahead and take all of you, and I suppose we could garrison like such. That way we won't necessarily run out of supplies as easily. Looking at our logistics, we have 19,000 artillery. We have a heck of a lot of motorized rocket artillery. Surprisingly, our infantry equipment is draining. But we do have so many that I'm kind of glad about it. I think what happens is as we move troops and they walk around, they do lose infantry equipment. Mechanized, 79 days until we finally have a surplus. We never actually got mechanized level 3, which I guess we can get now. And we finally have a surplus of convoys. All of our ships have been constructed. I guess all we're really doing is, as much as I would really like some additional modern tanks, we don't seem to have the production capacity. Now, obviously, we're building more, but I would like to continue building on to whatever we can. And now that we own Iran, we can obviously invest here without the fear of it being removed. And part of me thinks it might not even be a bad idea. Now, obviously, we're building military factories, but it probably wouldn't be that bad of an idea to build up our civilian factories. The campaign is going to be over, I believe, like I said, on the 1st of January. So everything would actually be, very close to being finished had I have changed to, building up my industry rather than my, you know, my military power. Is there anything else? Yes, we have all of the US, as we suspected. And you know what? Because the campaign is pretty much over, let us go ahead, go from a closed economy to free trade. The reason why is I get better factory output. There is no way that we're going to be going to war, and it makes me wonder, I probably should have, you know, built civilian factories instead. So let's pump these out as quickly as we can. It might improve our score by the end of the campaign. Who knows? We've only got about 2 months. So let's push some of these to the top. The more civilian factories we have, the farther this queue will go down. Advanced landing craft has been unlocked. We've got about a month and a half left. I'm going to be very disappointed if the campaign doesn't end, but there aren't any wars. Let's get land night attack plus 15%. Looks like one of our doctrines is about to be completed. And surprisingly enough, we never actually made it through all of our Blitzkrieg doctrines either. Finally, we are out of steel, which makes me wonder, are all of these military factories that we're producing even worth it? Obviously not. What we should have done was built, you know, civilian factories. But we only have about a month left. And we finally have some manpower. Eventually, I think I am going to finally go from service by requirement all the way down to volunteer only. But I don't think it necessarily changes anything other than losing some manpower. Now, obviously, we are not going to have the factory output and the construction speed reduction. And the training time will drastically go down. Okay, unread naval battle, no thank you. Unread naval convoy, no thank you. Unassigned divisions, I'm sure they are all the Manchurian groups. Let us finally go to... we can't. We have to go to extensive conscription first, but at least now we have better factory output. And is this the end of the campaign? That is very odd. The campaign isn't over, but I think we are going to go ahead and finally end this series. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you all really enjoyed the Japanese Iron Man campaign. I know I certainly did. I learned a lot about naval invasions and naval combat in general. I feel like we did fairly well, but unfortunately, because the German Reich and Romania was able to defeat the USSR early on, they obviously got all of their steel, all of their chromium, all of their factories, and because we never declared on the USSR, we really didn't get anything from them. But thank you all so much for joining me. If you have any recommendations, please send them my way. I am planning on playing either Romania, the United Kingdom, or France in our next Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4. So thank you all once again. I hope you all have an awesome day, and I will see you in our next adventure.